You want to keep listening to this episode. You want to listen to our episode about Nosferatu. Are you tired of living a typical life? Do you want to spice things up with your partner? Have no fear, Nosferatu is here. All you have to do is invoke the spirit of darkness and succumb to the possession of this ancient vampire. After that, you will forever be insatiable. Your husband will love it. Just as long as you don't reveal that you are actually waiting for Count Orlok to ravish you, you will have a fruitful sex life. Side effects include fits of madness and seizures, nightmares and sleepwalking, and your whole family will die. But it's great if you want to get that libido going.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes. Little taste.
David, what is this?
It's pretty thick.
Break.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits.
Mistletoe alert.
This is backcountry.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo being pregnant?
Chomp, chomp, chompa, chompa.
Oh, you're such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso. Horror.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. I'm Sydney Lee. I have no master nor mistress. And with me are my lovely co-hosts, Bryce Hanson, tourist of the occult, and Max Allen, who is recommending more ether. We are a silly, goofy, but very serious horror movie review show. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. Full video available on YouTube. Don't be a square. Make sure to share. Also, check out patreon.com/horrormovietalk, the equivalent of the adult section at your video rental store. If you want to add your pee to the community pool, go to horrormovietalk.com or call 682-253-4468 and leave us a voicemail. I'm very excited. We've got a great show today. We're reviewing the new Nosferatu. Yay!
Yay!
We'll, of course, start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And later, we're going to play a game that I've completely stolen from Max called Guess That Vampire.
Hey,
You could probably just do Guess That Nosferatu at this point.
it's Name That
true.
Vampire, first of all.
Okay, well, see, then I didn't directly copy you. It's Guess That Vampire.
I work hard on that bit.
That's
worked
as
hard.
different from Max's bit as Nosferatu is from Dracula.
That's true. Just little tweaks. I wrote a really long review for this. I'm so excited to talk about it. Okay. So it's in theaters now, and if you're listening or watching and you have not seen it yet, go see it before you listen to spoilers. Like, you can listen to our review, but I promise you are gonna want to see this in theaters, so don't skip it. Go see it.
Can you
in
really
theaters.
spoil a remake of one of the oldest films?
Not just a remake, but a remake of a remake.
That's true. And it is different from the one in the 70s, like how it ends, I guess.
Maybe,
Yeah.
it's different in
Like, it's
tone,
slight.
but
There's,
the
like,
story
slight.
is almost exactly the same.
Yeah. But it's definitely different in tone, but I don't know. I just want to advocate for, like, even though this story has been told a bunch of times, like, seeing it in theaters is definitely going to be a much better experience than waiting for it to come on digital, because it's just like the sound design, it's just everything. You need to go see it in theaters, I think. Okay. Tell me, does evil come from within us or beyond? This film follows Ellen, played by Lily-Rose Depp, and her husband, Thomas, played by Nicholas Hoult, as Thomas takes a new job that requires him to go to a strange land to broker a real estate deal with the mysterious Count Orlok. While Ellen begs him not to go, he does anyways, and she starts having nightmares and fits of madness while he's away. Thomas quickly realizes he's in for a lot more than a house sale once he arrives at at the Count's castle. And Ellen, Thomas, and a gang of professors and doctors have to work together to defeat the darkness. Okay. My review is that excellent is not a good enough word to describe this movie. It's exceptional, phenomenal, show-stopping, incredible, stupendous. This is truly a spectacle to see in theater. The costuming is gorgeous and intricate. Every single actor brought their A game. The atmosphere and set dressing completely immerse you into the world of 1838 Germany and the mysteries of the vampire. The physical acting from Lily-Rose Depp was completely unexpected, yet welcomed and hopefully revered by all. You are truly watching a master work her craft. Nicholas Hoult was incredibly convincing as Thomas and incredibly hot, per usual. I love him. Willem Dafoe and Ralph Ineson occasionally add some solid comic relief while also driving the plot forward. Why am I stuttering so much?
You're so nervous.
I don't know why I'm so nervous.
You just want the movie to like you.
I know. I'm like, Nosferatu. Hey. Also, it's so entertaining and the pacing is perfect. So the 132-minute runtime passes you by like a soft summer breeze. I don't even know how to review this film to accurately describe how awestruck I was while watching it. I wanted to stand up in the theater like I was watching the Super Bowl. This was my Super Bowl. My one complaint is that I wish they hadn't told us who played Count Orlok, because Bill Skarsgård is completely unrecognizable as the illustrious vampire. This Count Orlok is like we've never seen. As in the original, it was a silent film, so it was impossible to hear his voice. And in the Herzog version, he is portrayed as more of a melancholy creature battling with isolation and immortality. In this film, he's terrifying, he's demanding, he's alluring and intoxicating, he is sexy and fearsome and seemingly rules the world. The viewer falls under his spell just like his on-screen victims. This movie is a masterpiece. It is true gothic horror. It's incredibly sexy. It's gripping. It's haunting. I want to go see it again right now. Also, I want to emphasize that while I wrote this, I kept getting frustrated by the fact that no positive adjective will be 100% accurate at describing how incredible this film is. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I think Robert Eggers has not made like a mediocre movie since he started. Every one of his films is a banger, and this is really kind of a spiritual successor to The Witch. I don't know if you knew, but he almost cast Anya Taylor-Joy as Ellen, which would have been.
Oh, why didn't he do that?
I think that Lily-Rose was better after watching this. I was like, I don't think anyone else could have done that.
Yeah, I was really surprised by Lily-Rose Depp. Like, you know, Nepo baby, all the shade you can throw at her, but she was fantastic in this, and really brought a lot to the character. And yeah, like you said, the physical acting is amazing. I mean, we could say physical acting. Could we just call it orgasm acting? It's pretty intense.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Robert Eggers, like his emphasis on being true to the folklore is really interesting. Same as he was on The Witch. He really used as much source material as he could, and that's why Count Orlok looks so different and is probably one of the most screen accurate representations of even Dracula so far, because even when you read Dracula, you realize like, oh, this looks nothing like when in the book, when you read the physical description of Dracula, he's described as, super ethnic, having, like a aquiline nose, a really thick mustache, which is never portrayed in any Dracula, and basically being an ancient, Transylvanian nobleman. And this film is the only one that I feel like looked anywhere close to that. If you think back to the original Dracula film with Bela Lugosi, it looks like
just like a sexy little businessman.
Like a sexy European, like French, aristocrat or something, and it's so that Bill Skarsgård's acting in this makes him unrecognizable. so many interesting things. I think like the only criticisms I had is some of the cinematography gets a little repetitive with the symmetrical framing of the actors. Very Wes Anderson, but very like portrait like. I think that's used as a crutch a little, but it's all just a stylistic decision, and not, everything looks beautiful still throughout. There's just some of that was a little distracting to me. But all the other choices of direction was so interesting and so disorientating in a really great way. And
Disorientating?
Okay, what's the correct word? Disorienting. And
disorientating.
I believe both are valid words, but
Okay,
I doubt it.
And yeah, I mean it's a fantastic film. Like I give it a 10 out of 10 as well. I'm looking forward to Robert Eggers completing the trilogy of the evils of the female orgasm on film. We've got The Witch, we've got Nosferatu. I don't know what'll cap it off, but he did 2 movies about the evils of the male orgasm as well. If we're being honest, The Lighthouse of the Northman.
That's actually true.
Are both like he's just like coming.
Those movies
as evil.
are like, what if testosterone was scary?
Right. Yeah. So it's it's really interesting. I think watching The Witch and Nosferatu back to back would be really interesting. Seeing the common threads in it. This one's a little less subtle than The Witch.
It's sexier. This is sexier. This is just
a
like
lot sexier.
a sexy movie, in my opinion.
I was hard. 10 out of 10. I'm so excited to hear what Max said, because Max has been silent on text, and I'm
worried.
so excited to hear him give this like a 4 out of 10, like an asshole.
Well, don't get too excited. The only reason I was staying quiet over text is because this was a big movie, and I didn't want to, spoil our reactions over the week.
You didn't even do a Letterboxd review on it, and I was like waiting. I was like,
That's just
where is
I'm
it?
lazy. That's just because I don't wanna. I hate Letterboxd. No, I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I think my only thing that I didn't like about it was a little long, and even though the pacing is really good, like, man, he gets, like, the boat arrives and we still have like an hour and 20 minutes. Like, it's so long, especially towards the end. I think that they could have like trimmed it up in the third act a little bit to make it a little more concise, but yeah, it was still a lot of fun. It looked beautiful. I thought the acting was great. Nosferatu looked terrifying and beefy. Like, they always make him like look scrawny in the other ones and like emaciated. He looked beefy, like he could beat you up. So
Besides his legs.
I thought that shot was just at the end. That was just I mean, we won't get into spoilers, but I don't think his legs were always that small.
Yeah, he just comes so much that it shrunk his legs. Just shriveled them up into chicken legs.
Chicken legs. Bill Skarsgård was incredible. I literally could not tell it was him. I mean, I knew it was him, but I was like trying to look. I was like, where is his face in that? Like, how much makeup and prosthetics did he have to have for that? That is crazy. And they do a good job of not even showing off the monster design for a lot of the movie, which really builds the suspense. This is definitely the best portrayal of Nosferatu I've seen. I think the first one is very boring because there's no sound. The second one is good, but it's a little cheesier, I'd say. Like, it borders on like kind of comedy yet sometimes, just the way they make Nosferatu in that one. He's kind of like this. he's kind of like this like nerdy, like little creepy guy.
He's like an incel in that one. Yeah.
Right.
But this one, he's a Chad. You know, they give him muscles and a huge mustache, so I like that. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Across the board.
Nice.
I don't think this has ever happened. Oh my god. Cool.
Yeah. I think like the most impressive thing to me was just like, it's one of those movies where I don't realize how tense I am while I'm watching it, and until like I'm just like, wow, I'm like just feeling a lot of dread and tensed up, and just like getting into a cocoon just watching it, and that's it's a slow roll, and I think people that don't like long movies, or if they didn't like The Witch and think it's like boring, first of all, I don't care about their opinion on that, but this one might be a little bit of a struggle too, just because it's not trying to get you with a bunch of jump scares. I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but it's not trying to like, shove in scares every 5 minutes. It's really developing a mood throughout, and it does it really well.
Yeah, I think that this, out of Robert Eggers' movies, besides The Northman, this is the most like action packed, like in quotations. Like this, like it doesn't rely heavily on jump scares. There are a couple which are very like they're executed very well. But like this, like I was surprised at how much was happening for a Robert Eggers film, because The Witch is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it's very slow, but that's adds to the suspense and the dread. And this one I think is a little bit more fast paced than that, even though it is longer. There are definitely times where like you're like, okay, there's a lot of talking, but it just all adds to the atmosphere. And I don't know about you guys, but we all saw this on the same day. We all saw this the day after it came out. I was in a full theater, like every single seat full. People clapped at the end, which is always interesting to me, because like I don't hate on it. Like if you're a person that does that, that's fine. But like, who is hearing you? Like Robert Eggers isn't going to be like, thank you. Like it's like you're just kind of
maybe they're just hoping like Robert Eggers is in the back and he's like, surprise. Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Honestly, he's from New Hampshire, so I guess it wouldn't be like a huge stretch for him to be like in Massachusetts, but he probably isn't. But we were in a completely full theater, and I went to go see it with my friend. And when it ended, we both looked at each other and just like mouths agape for like 5 minutes. And I was like, that was fucking crazy. And he was like, I can't. Like, we stood outside of the theater for like an hour talking about it. Like, we couldn't, like, I don't know. It was fantastic. Like, it was fantastic. And there are funny parts of this movie, which is nice because comic relief is great. But people laughed too many times in my theater, I think. Like, there were parts that weren't as funny, and like people were laughing, and I just the theater
that's
etiquette
my biggest
now,
pet peeve.
It's
I hate
awful. It's like, yes, there are funny lines, like when when Canuck bites the pigeon head off, and Ralph Ineson is like, my good man, why would you do that? Like, that's hilarious. Like that's really funny. But like there are times where like people are giggling, and I'm sitting, and me and my friend were sitting there, we weren't laughing, and I was just like, what was that about? Like, what was that?
I think a lot of it's nervous laughter. I was in a theater where there was a couple people that were, were laughing at several parts of it. And sometimes it made me appreciate it more. Like the line where he's like, no more ether. And like they laughed at that line. It's like, that is pretty funny. I mean, it's said just subtly and matter-of-factly, but it is a pretty funny line in context, especially as a modern viewer. But yeah, I mean, I just look at it as like, I'm on like the minority where I'd rather have the negative theater experiences because I think it adds to the experience anyways. You know, even if you've got people talking or like laughing at the wrong moment, it's a communal experience, and you kind of just like take it as it happens. And you know, like even the negative stuff, it adds to it because you can remember your experience of watching the movie, even with that. But yeah, I think this is a good movie to watch in a full theater, and hearing reactions, because it's going to be received in a lot of different ways by different people. Definitely.
I don't think I can ever agree with the poor etiquette adds to the movie. Like I get so frustrated with people at the movies that I like can't watch the movie anymore. Like when we went and saw Heretic, there was a couple sitting like directly next to me, just talking full volume the entire time. And I kept looking over to them, like hoping they would notice my irritation, and they just never cared. That stuff frustrates me.
You gotta say, like, at that point, you have to say something. Like, I remember when I saw Men. Remember that movie? Men?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Men.
Did not like that. But we were seeing
That's because you're
it.
not a man.
Right.
You gotta be a man to like men.
Okay.
You're not they, them.
That's gay. But we were seeing Men, and there were these, you know how in like AMCs you can get like the two seats that are separate, like in the big AMCs. Do you guys like? Okay.
Isn't that for
Two seats that are separate?
It's
Like,
not
there's
for wheelchairs.
Yeah,
No.
like
Squeeze in.
wheelchair accessible seats.
No. Those are
You've been
in, like,
sitting in the wheelchair accessible seats?
No. We weren't sitting in them, but there are seats that are like, I guess they are around here, like in bigger theaters, but there are like rows all the way up the stairs that, like, there's a regular
Is there a ramp
row.
there too?
No. There's a regular row, and then there's like a little corner, and there's two seats off to the side. Like you could sit like as a couple, like you can get those seats. So there was like a teenage couple sitting there talking and on their phones the entirety of Men, like, and everyone in the theater was shushing them like the whole time. And my friend that I saw it with, like, actually got up. She was like, I can't fucking take this anymore. And she got up and she was like, you guys need to stop. Like, it's been the entire movie and we cannot pay attention. And they actually left the theater. They left the theater after that. It's like,
Yeah.
they didn't even go to see the movie. They just wanted to like hang out, not at their mom's house. And it's
Right.
like, just go out, like, go walk around. Like, why are you ruining this experience
Yeah.
for everyone else? It's horrible.
Well, that's why I liked watching movies with David, because he was like the strong man. Like he would not take any shit. The first like inkling of someone talking during the movie, he would just like stand up and turn around, look directly at them. It's like, can you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
You need to channel that energy when people are being disruptive. And
See,
I'm
no,
not-
I would
I'm
rather
not good
just
at that.
brood. I would rather
Right.
just
Me too. I'm a brooder.
seethe.
I'm not. I'm very confrontational. It's not. But yeah, everyone in my theater, like, once the movie started, like when the, you know, whatever production company, like that stuff happens at the beginning, people were still talking, and I was like clenched. Like, I was like, I swear. And people stopped. But the problem with the theater that I was at the Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline, and it's a very old theater. It's like 100 something years old. And so the seats are not like leveled, like in like a Showcase Cinemas or something. They're like all like kind of just flat, like you're watching like a play, right? So when people get up in front of you, they're like standing in front of the fucking screen. And that was really frustrating because people got up to pee constantly. And I was like, sit down, like, please. Like, it bothered me so much. And I'm like, I get easily distracted. So if I hear one thing or if I see one thing, I will look at them instead of looking at the screen. And I hate that. It bothers me a lot.
I brought a drink and I didn't even take a sip of it until there was like 20 minutes left of the movie because I knew I would have to pee. And I was like, I can't.
I didn't. The concession line. So the movie was at 7. I got there at like 6:40. My friend got there at 6:50, and the concession line was like 40 people deep, and there was only one line because it's not a huge theater. And I was like, "Do you want to get anything?" And he was like, "I'm not waiting." And I was like, "Cool." So neither of us had anything the whole movie. I didn't even bring my water in, so I didn't have to pee the whole time. It was great.
So wait, your box office is separate from the concessions line at your theater?
Well, at the Coolidge Corner one, yeah.
Mine is too.
Yeah, mine, all the Regal cinemas are, the concessions line is the line to buy tickets, which is really annoying.
Don't you just buy them online beforehand?
No. I'm
You
not
can
sure
just
you
buy
do
them
that.
on the app.
Can you? With the...
Yeah, I've been doing that every single time. You've never just opened up your app, clicked, I want a ticket for this movie, and then shown up?
I've literally never been
No.
to the movies since like the age of cell phones where I have not bought the movie ticket beforehand. What if it was full? What if you couldn't get in?
It's never been full.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when you talk about going to a full theater, like it astounds me because I have not been to a movie where I couldn't get a ticket on opening day since like the early 2000s, maybe.
I almost couldn't get a ticket on the day that I went, which was the 26th. Like when I looked, like at like regular, like at Coolidge Corner, you can't pick seats because it's just one of those places. But like I looked on like Showcase Cinemas and stuff, and like there was like 2 seats that were open, and I was like, ooh.
The only full theater I've been to this year was Five Nights at Freddy's. And that's not the kind of crowd you want to be packed tight like a sardine
crazy.
into. I mean, there were people dressing up as animals.
Okay, if I book it over the app, there's a 50-cent fee.
Yeah, it's 53 cents.
I'm not going to pay 50 cents.
Don't you have like the Regal Cinemas pass? Don't we all have the pass?
Yeah, I have the
it's-
unlimited pass, but to buy it online, you got to pay an extra 50 cents.
Not with Showcase Cinemas, baby.
Yeah, well, not all of us are cool like you.
I think I'm just like in the most populated area for
Right. That's probably it.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. Cause like I exclusively go to theaters in or around Boston. And I honestly like I like going to the indie theaters too, like the smaller theaters. Cause it's like, I mean, it's more expensive obviously, but it's like, I get to support like 100-year-old theater. Like I don't want that to close, you know? And they have really cool showings. Like they have midnight showings of like really awesome movies. Okay, should we get into spoilers? Should we do
No. I before we do that, I want to say that my theater, my Regal Theater, which is a huge building, massive, is a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like you walk in and the area to buy your tickets, no one's working there. And you walk past that and there's one guy at the concessions and no line, and
Right.
you're like, no one even checks the tickets. You just go.
Yeah, that's usually how it is with me too.
Wow, I
And
need
then
to
at
like
most I have like 5 other people in the theater.
I need to like take a video of me walking into a theater and show
Yeah.
you guys like what it looks like, because
It'll be like a liminal space thing for me when I walk into my theater. Like if I were to videotape it, you'd be like, this is creepy.
Yeah,
mean,
my
they're-
Regal theater is like, it's starting to, it was built in like probably 20 years ago, and it's starting to like break down, and they're not improving it. So like above the door on the theater where it has like the Chiron or whatever that tells you what is playing in the theater, that has not worked for years. It's just like one red dot, and then it has like a placard that says theater whatever, but it's really dark in the hallway, so you can't see what the theater number unless you're like right next to the door, which is really annoying. And then the thing that bothers the hell out of me is the lights that they use in the theater, like the lights that dim, are like the the fluorescent bulbs.
So they give the little buzz.
It's before the LED energy saver bulbs, and it's like the first, incandescent replacements, which were fluorescent, and they flicker when they're low. Like when they turn the light down low, I see like constant light bulbs flickering in my periphery because they won't fucking change the bulb, and it bothers the hell out of me.
This is what the Coolidge Corner Theater looks like, the one I went
Jesus.
to.
That's like, an old style theater.
They have a curtain?
Yeah, I mean, it's open and like...
I assume they would open the curtain for the movie.
Well, they do like this is the same as the Somerville Theater, which is like equally as old, I think. But like they do other shows here too. Like I saw John Waters do an interview here, so it's not always movies. And like the one at the Somerville Theater, they do drag shows all the time. So it's like they'll open it and the like they have like the what the fuck the balcony like seats. No one can sit there, but it's like going to the opera and you can like sit. All
right, no more theater talk. We're losing them.
Wait. Let me put my picture back. Hold on.
It's time for ads. We need more ads.
Hold on.
Let's make this episode ad free.
Okay, yeah, let's okay. Well, if you're listening to these ads, everyone, my computer is not working. You should know that you don't have to. Go to patreon.com/horrormovietalk and you can we're doing a pretentious review right after this. You can sign up for that tier and listen to all of our other Nosferatu episodes before you listen to this one. My Google Docs is literally frozen. What comes next?
Patreon, HMT Shop, Dustin Goebel.
Yeah, so I said Patreon. Am I frozen now?
This is the biggest episode of the year, Sydney.
Hold on.
You're getting a little laggy, but it's going to be okay.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, Patreon. Go to our shop at our website. Why is this happening?
Let's talk about it more. Just plow through.
Go to our website, horrormovietalk.com, and buy everything that you need. You could have bought stuff for Christmas. I hope that you guys did. You can get t-shirts, you can get pins, you can get the hat, you can get everything that you want. Also, check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram and make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you. And again, our voicemail line is 682-253-4468. Thanks again, and let's get into spoilers. So I didn't take notes while I watched this because I didn't want to be distracted at all. So I just kind of threw this together just as a rough outline. But like I think we all know what happens in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen this movie 3 times now.
But I want to say that the opening scene of the movie, like I knew this movie was going to be good. Like I was so excited for it. I knew it was going to be good. I love Robert Eggers. We all love him. But the opening scene solidifies how incredible it's going to be. Like it really just hits it home. Like Ellen's like, someone come fuck me. And Count Orlok's like, baby, I got a long dick for you right here. And she's like, I can't wait. And that's kind of what the opening scene is. And it's great.
Well,
it sets up the whole premise.
I was a little confused because she's on her knees, like doing some sort of prayer, but it's not directed at any god. It's just like out into the open, like, I'm lonely. If there is any being in the universe who wants to keep me company, I'm inviting you to do that.
No, she's like she what is it? Like she prays to the angel of something. It's very Phantom of the Opera coded, actually. Like it's very similar to Christine and the Phantom of the Opera musical when she's
Angel of music.
Yeah, she's got like kind of a ghost that haunts her that she prays to. But yeah, she's like praying and reaching out into the ether, you know, some being, and we don't have any other backstory other than that, and then she starts coming.
Yeah, so I mean, she's just kind of like, I forget exactly what she says, but it's kind of like angel or demon, I don't care. Like someone come, like save me from this loneliness and the
Come
scare.
fuck this pussy.
Yeah, literally, and that's what happens. Like her moans. Like I thought, like were like moans of like a virgin being touched for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is like really good. Like I was like, this is a great. And then like there's a jump scare of Orlok's hand on her neck, and she's like writhing around and whatever, and that. And you find out a little bit later that was like when she was younger and before she was married. She kind of like makes this like sexy pact with Nosferatu, but he can't leave Transylvania because he doesn't have a house in England. So what does he do? He's like, I gotta buy a house, and that's the only way I can see my girl. And like, I like this rendition of it because it really focuses on Ellen, and it doesn't make her like this damsel in distress. It makes her like this powerful, like unafraid of her sexuality, modern 19th century woman. Whereas like her friend Anna is like more like, she doesn't share the same beliefs as Ellen, but she like still loves her as a friend, which is great. But like, it's like Ellen has more power in this version of Nosferatu than I think in previous versions.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I wouldn't say that she's not afraid of her sexuality. I think there's like the element of having shame and fear around what she's feeling, and
Well, yeah, because no one understands her. That's the whole thing. Is
Right.
no one gets her except for Nosferatu.
No one understands that I'm in love with a dead guy. Also, they make Count Orlok. Not Olaf.
Olaf?
Olaf is
Orlok.
the snowman.
from Frozen.
Orlok is kind of like a zombie in this, like that's kind of like the mythos they give him, because they say that he was like a regular guy who was just evil, and then he died, and then what, like the devil brought him back to like be death on Earth or something like that, and he looks more like a zombie. Like, did you guys kind of get that?
Yeah, and I've seen an interview with Robert Eggers that speaks to that, where he went back to kind of the original folklore of the people that believed in vampires, like pre-Dracula, and that is kind of the thing. It's closer to a zombie. It's closer to like a walking corpse than, you know, this seductive, you know, undead creature.
Flawless skin,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
I think,
visible pores.
and I think one of the
Sparkly.
strengths to this, I think one of the strengths to this movie that Robert Eggers really brings to it is that it's not a vampire movie that's rooted in Catholicism. It's a vampire movie that's rooted in like ancient occult, like lore and folklore. And it's not about like, we need Jesus to come say, it's like, no, it's like we have the Romany people who like, you know, are guiding Thomas and like saving him when
You could
he's
say
sick.
it, they're
and-
gypsies.
That's an offensive word.
That's what they call them in
Yeah,
the
that's
movie.
what they call him in the movie.
Okay. Well, also,
Also, every gypsy that I've ever met calls himself a gypsy. So,
I've never met one. That's cool.
okay. So you're just defending people that you don't know or understand. That's,
Well, I used to watch My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding on TLC actually, which is a good show. But this is a side note. But my friend was texting me after we saw it, and he was like, "Wait, you know the scene where like Thomas is, you know, being healed by the gypsies, and he like shoots up and sits up, and you see like his naked body. He was like, there's no reason for a guy in the 1800s to be that jacked. Like he's like absolutely ripped to shreds. Like and you could, it's in the trailer, so it's so.
Wait, was he wasn't being healed by the gypsies? He was being healed by like nuns. It's probably like Orthodox.
Yeah, I thought it was like a what do they call them? A convent?
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it was
pretty
like
sure it was a Christian kind of church thing.
Okay. Well,
Do gypsies have churches? Like, isn't that their whole thing, that they're carting around their shit everywhere they go?
I don't know.
As opposed to like laying down stakes. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, the opening scene's great. I gotta say, from my experience touching virgins, like, I did not get that reaction. I'm not sure how accurate that your synopsis of that is.
Well, skill issue. I don't know.
But hey. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe it's. I mean, Count Orlok fucks, and I guess me at the time I was a virgin too, so maybe I just didn't have the long enough nails or something.
Bryce has had time to hone his craft, though.
Right. I fuck, guys. I mean,
Yeah, but this movie is like, it's sexier and more sensual than like vampires. Like there's a ton of, like, Bram Stoker's Dracula is a very sexy movie. Like they're like, vampires are like, you know, we see True Blood, we see Interview with a Vampire. Like there is a lot of sensuality in there. But this, for a Nosferatu story, this one is definitely the sexiest. Like we actually get sex in this, which is like rare. Like that doesn't really happen with the Nosferatu rendition of it. But
see, I mean, it's interesting to me because, like, I kind of interpreted it as, like, I mean, there's like a real darkness to the sexuality between him and Ellen, where it's like, how old is she in that opening scene? I mean, it says a year later is when most of the movie takes place, but like,
I thought it said 5 years later or something.
Is it 5 years later?
I
mean,
remember.
it's basically saying she was a teenager at the time, and
yeah,
Count Orlok was her first experience.
canceled. He's canceled.
Which,
Yeah, that's statutory rape. and
That's just got
not
sick.
which
cool.
is like this thing where it's like, because it's what she knows up to that point. Then she gets married and she loves her husband. I think like the relationship between her and Thomas is the most grounding thing in the movie, where like she really does love him and wants to be with him, and then
But he doesn't understand her like Count Orlok does. That's the no,
Are you defending her?
No, I swear.
Rapist now?
I swear on my life. I'll send you the link, and could you play it, Bryce? There's an interview with Willem Dafoe and Robert Eggers, and Robert Eggers explains this about the movie. It's like 2 seconds. Hold on. But like, he's the only person that like she's so drawn to it because she loves her husband. Yes, 100% she loves her husband, but like she's desperately trying to like get him to understand her, and I don't know.
See, this is how I saw it, because it's in the 1800s. Thomas treats his wife with love, but there's also this like thing where he's like, well, I'm the man and I make the decisions and your opinion doesn't really matter. And then you go to Count Orlok, where they could have gone a route where it's like, oh, he's like this liberating, freeing being. But no, he's kind of way worse. He's like, I just want you as a slave, actually.
Right.
So I don't think any of them really like, I wouldn't say that I thought any of the relationships were like, quote unquote, good. Like there's some pretty glaring issues.
I don't know. What's your
both
example for like Thomas and Ellen's relationship being bad? Because it seemed the only downside I could see was him not listening to her when she tells him not to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like, it would be insane for him not to go.
Well, he thinks like she's insane every time she talks about the stuff that she talks about. She's like, I have these nightmares, and like she describes these in really like graphic, detailed nightmares, and she's like, I'm sad, I'm fucked up. Like, can you please like listen to me and hear me? And he's like, no, I love you, it's fine. And she's like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to tell you like a part of myself. And he's just not, he doesn't understand it because he just wants her to be like, but they do love each other. I'm not saying it's like bad. Like he's definitely the better choice than the demon. But like,
I think he's more just like, you know, he's going around chatting up his friends. He's like, yeah, I mean, I love her, but she's got bouts of hysteria. You know, women like that kind of seems like the vibe that all the men treat her in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you contrast, you know, Thomas's treatment of her with Friedrich's, or Aaron Taylor Johnson's character with her, it's like, I don't think he's anywhere close to Friedrich.
No,
like,
Friedrich's a dick.
Yeah, Friedrich's like, he would be that husband that's like, I gotta free myself of this guy. This guy doesn't. But I mean, on the surface, it is insane for her to tell him not to go because of a dream she had. Like, let's not discount that. You know, in real life, it's like, okay, this sounds like it's subconscious fears of being separated. Like, it's going to be okay. This is for the good. I'm doing this for the family kind of thing. And he goes out. But, you know, when he's gone and she's like worried about him and he's worried about her, like it all seems like a very good relationship, very loving. And it's only when Ellen is possessed when she starts acting like a real cunt towards him.
Well,
when she's like, you can't fuck me like Orlok. And
I love that scene. Like that scene where she's like, you'll never please me like he does. And then he like throws her down and like fucks her. I'm like, yeah. That right there. That hit me. I like that. I like.
Let's see. That's one of those moments where it's like you would read that in like a romance novel and be like, ooh, but then you see it and you're like, ugh.
Okay, well, to each his own, I guess. But
I mean, I'm probably
it.
skewed more towards Sydney's reaction than Max. I agree, Max. It is pretty like. Ouch. I think as a man, you feel it. You're like, ooh, no, my latent fears all confirmed. Like, and then like the actual, you know, rough sex part is pretty fucking hot.
No, like I literally wrote in my notes about that whole scene. I was like, been there, girl. Like, it's like, because in the middle of sex, like she does her like scary, am I glitching? Can you hear me?
2 hours later.
Okay, so we've got this. I got this video pulled up that you sent me. We can watch this about Ellen's sexuality.
Ellen asks your character, does evil come from within or beyond?
I have the problem with what is evil. I mean, you can stop me right there. I don't have it all worked out because, you know, sometimes you do things and you don't totally understand what they mean, and they're going to mean different things to different people. But in retrospect, when I think about my character's relationship with Ellen, it's kind of beautiful because he's the one that sees her. Yeah. Nobody else sees her. And you talked, when we were talking the other day, you talked very beautifully about that triangle, you know, and that's what's so modern about this. You know, you've got the dutiful husband. Well, you describe it.
Ellen, like your character, she's an outsider, but she really has no one who understands her, and she's a modern person who sort of like is existing in the 19th century, and she has, this love triangle between her husband, who she does love, you know, and he loves her, but he cannot like fully see her and fully understand her, and cannot like understand her connection to the dark side or the other side. And unfortunately, the one person, before she meets you, who does see that is a demon. You know, he's a vampire and he's an abuser.
He's coming,
and he's coming. And so that is like the tragedy that it's only in this like incredibly toxic relationship that's a love story, but really more about obsession. That's, you know, where she can find connection to this part of herself. So I mean, does evil come from within or beyond? We all have darkness inside of ourselves to some degree. And your character also talks about you have to face the evil exists in order to fight it. You tell Ellen to like crucify the evil within her. This is.
Yeah, so he describes it like he, you know, the only person that, like, that's the director, you know, the only person that sees her is a demon. Like, her husband doesn't see her for who she really is. Before, like, Willem Dafoe's character understands her too. They have like a little bond that we see form.
Why do they not share a bed?
That's been an all that you're muted, Bryce.
Say that again, Max. I missed it.
Why don't Ellen and Thomas share a bed? Why do they have two twin beds in the same room?
That's just a Victorian thing.
They
like,
do it
for
in
reals?
the other Nosferatu movies too.
I thought that was because back in the day you couldn't show husband and wife like laying in bed together on screen.
Well,
that would have been with the Hays Code, though, and that was after the original Nosferatu, and that was out by the time.
I'm pretty sure, like,
came.
historically that happened. They had separate beds, and then they
why?
Because you don't
They
want
hate
your
each
wife
other?
touching you. Like, I don't know. I'm really considering getting separate beds for me and my wife. I'm like,
no, Bryce.
You know,
that's the death of love.
Some people like do it and have healthy marriages. Sometimes it just works.
Right.
I don't know. I probably would do that. I hate sleeping
there's
with people.
sure you could make the argument that like, oh yeah, you don't get to cuddle with your wife, but how hot would it be to like lurk into her room in the middle of the night and be like, I've come for you, just coming. Like Count Orlok, you know?
He's coming.
I don't know. I think this relationship between Ellen and Count Orlok is, I mean, obviously very dark, but I feel like it has something to say about abusive relationships, because he is an abuser, and I think that's like one of the greatest tragedies in the movie is that she succumbs to it, or, you know, or the moral to the story is that she should succumb to it, which is weird.
Sorry, Grace. Now I'm just thinking of you sneaking into your wife's bedroom in the middle of the night and she's dead asleep and you're just standing over her like
your shadow with your hand like
and then she wakes up and screams and you're like, I came.
Told you I was on my way.
Just lean from the waist down to her face.
No, I mean, I don't think
it is time.
I don't think the moral is to like succumb to the darkness. I mean, she ultimately does what she does at the end to save Thomas. Like everyone else she loves has died, and she like they Willem Dafoe and Lily-Rose Depp like devised this secret plan to get him out of the house so she can. Well, I mean, she wants to fuck Orlok. And they fuck, and it's really hot, like, and it's great, and like, it's just like Count Orlok is so nasty in this, but he's just so sexy. Like, I don't know, like, it's just it like fucked with my head so bad. I was like, wow. I was like, he's so
he's like
gross
decomposing,
and scary.
but his mustache is so full.
I'm like, come
it's so
take
full.
me. Come take me, Orlok. I love vampires, though. I wish. Oh,
The girlies like the bad boys.
Oh,
you know?
we love monsters.
Nice guys always finish last. Speaking of nice guys, I feel like what's his name, Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, he's so fucking hot.
Such a beta, just like a round-faced, little baby boy.
I've always thought he was so hot. He was in Warm Bodies. Did you guys ever see that?
No.
It's like
Missed that one.
It's like about like he's like a zombie in it, and like this girl falls in love with him even though he's a zombie, and he has to learn like to not eat.
Oh wait,
her.
I have seen that actually.
Yeah, it's so silly.
No hate to my round faced baby boys because I am one. But
Yeah, I was gonna say it takes one to know one.
No. I totally I understand him because I am him. But he just looks like he's got fear on his face the entire movie.
I mean, how
For good reason.
like this rendition of Nosferatu, like Thomas being at the castle was terrifying, and it's mostly due to number one, they don't show Orlok fully for a while, and number two, like the way that Nicholas Hoult plays the fear on his face, on his physical body, like it is so visceral, and like you can almost like chew on it, and it's like it's terrifying. Like
it's
Orlok
much
is
more
so scary in this.
Yeah, I think the difference between this film and others, or even Dracula, is in previous versions he's creeped out, but it's like he's put in an awkward situation where it's like he's trying to be polite, but this guy, Dracula or Nosferatu, is acting really weird. In this one, from the beginning, it feels straight up like he's prey.
Yeah.
And like he is being preyed upon, and there's not ever like any real niceties. Because I think in the original Dracula is pretty charming, and he's
whining and dining him.
He's whining and dining him, and he's like making an effort to appear modern and to be like, oh yes, I would like to practice my English, and all this stuff. And Orlok in this version is just straight up a predator, and
he's like, you do what I say.
Yeah.
Now, and he's like, drink, and he's like, no, I'm okay. He's like, drink now, motherfucker. Yeah. And he's like, okay. Like,
Can I tell you my favorite part of this whole movie, which is like right at this point in the movie, is Thomas has this little locket with his wife's hair in it. And Orlok is like, oh, can I see that? And he's like, oh yeah. He hands it to her, just slips it in his pocket and walks away. He's like, hey, where you going with my wife's hair?
And then when he eventually gets back to his wife, he's like, Ellen, he still has the locket. And Ellen's like, you're dumb. Like why would you give that to him? Like, it's such a baller move to take another man's locket with his wife's hair and just walk away with it and not give it back. He's like, he like looked at it. He was like, that's my bitch. I've been looking for her for so long. Thank you. Like, he's like, thank God. But yeah, the whole sequence with Thomas in the castle, it's just like, it's like being in Silent Hill. Like, he's just like there's just shit coming at him from all ends, and he cannot get out. He cannot escape. I really liked how in this one, the wolves played a bigger part, because the wolves are a huge part of the book Dracula, and like they're just such a big part of like who Nosferatu is and stuff like that. And so like when Thomas eventually gets out of the castle, it's like the wolves are chasing him and he has to like jump out a fucking window. Like that's what happens in the book Dracula. Like that's exactly, so that was great to see. But yeah, that whole sequence of him just like literally being in like the 8th circle of hell for 20 minutes, and then it will just like pan back to like Ellen and Anna and Friedrich, and Ellen's just like having seizures and stuff, and they're just like walking on the beach, and then it pans back to Thomas, and Thomas is like, I'm gonna die. Like, the contrast is so awesome.
Did you know that the interior is the same castle from the Werner Herzog Nosferatu?
I actually figured it was.
It looked a lot like it. Wow, that's awesome. I like that a lot.
The exterior is from a Transylvanian castle where Vlad Dracula was briefly imprisoned, but the interiors are from the. Not a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people know about Werner Herzog's Nosferatu, the vampire. Like, I haven't heard any talk about comparing this film to that one, and it does borrow, quite a bit from it. I mean, it's hard to say what's borrowed from the original and what's borrowed from the Herzog one, since like Herzog was also borrowing heavily from the original as well. But I feel like the amount of rats in this film was definitely inspired by Herzog's movie.
And they finally got the color right too.
Right.
The
Yeah.
rats, yeah. I felt like the rats were more daunting in Herzog's version, honestly. I think there were more. And but I did like how they brought into this one the plague too. I liked that a lot. Like the procession of coffins in this is very similar to Herzog's. Herzog's just has
in the original it was kind of alluded to the plague, but I think Herzog's and this one shows it much more clearly that there is a plague infecting the whole, of Weisberg or whatever it's called.
I forget.
I'm kind of sad they took out my favorite line from the original, when he has the vampire bite on his neck and he's like writing a letter to his wife and he's like, it's really weird. I have this bug bite on my neck and right next to it is another bug bite.
He's like
what's
mosquitoes.
up with that?
Yeah.
So that was an interesting part of this too, is that there weren't really any neck wounds. They were on their chest. And I liked that. I thought that was, that adds to like the gothic sensualness of it. Like this is just like the Herzog version is sad and it's dreadful and it's filled with like melancholy. This version is true just gothic horror. Like it's true just like, and it's like, it's not something that we haven't seen before, but it's a fresh like take in the horror world currently, because we're not getting gothic horrors. Like that's not happening anymore. Like people just want to make like shit with jump scares and a lot of gore, and this one has gore and it has jump scares, but it's just like, it's truly just like this dark, like all-encompassing darkness. Like you feel like as a viewer, you feel like you're succumbing to Orlok yourself. Like that is just the vibe of the whole movie. And I just think, I think that's like, I rated Herzog's a 10 out of 10 too. And I think that is an amazing movie as well, but they're amazing for completely different reasons. Like tonally, like the Herzog one isn't scary. I'm not scared of Klaus Kinski. I think he does a great job as Nosferatu, but like this Nosferatu is like, oh no, this is a fucking monster. Like he is a monster and he is going to get you. And I like that. Like that's just something, I don't know. It's something we don't see often enough, I think. And I like this a lot.
Yeah. I think the dread and kind of existential dread throughout this movie is really, really strong, and just very much more about darkness and the occult that's threaded throughout. That like it's hard to see another film. It's hard to recall another film that does it better. I gotta say, so when he's in the castle and Orlok is feasting on him, I gotta say that one scene was pretty sexual too. Like he's basically humping him while he's sucking on his teat. Like I think Orlok is confirmed by.
Yeah.
The coolest part about that scene is how much like. In other vampire movies, you see them like sucking out the blood, but it's just kind of like a trickle. This one, he's slurping, gulping down the blood by the pint. Like
you hear that, yeah.
Like it is just flowing into him. It is crazy, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
I really liked it too, and I also like the thing about Herzog's like at the end that I really like is that he's not Thomas in that one, but that character, he just like he is a vampire at the end. Like he turns into a vampire, and that is exclusive to that like rendition of Nosferatu. In this one, there's no like indication that Nosferatu can turn anyone into vampires. Like he's just on the hunt to kill, and like I like that about this one. Like I like
His
that he's
poor
just
familiar. He's like, I wanted to be the prince of the rats, but instead I am just sad.
Can we talk about the cute cats in this movie?
Oh my gosh.
I was literally going, aw, every time I saw them.
Yeah, that cat was a cutie patootie. The
sweet.
Ellen's cat that jumps up right as they're she's trying to tempt Thomas. You know, she's kind of a cock blocker, but yeah, cute cats. Imagine what that cat was thinking in the last scene, you know, as Ellen's getting boned down by Nosferatu. Just like, Jesus Christ, Mommy, what's wrong
I'm
with
just
you?
a kitten. Like,
Do you think it's a power move that Orlok sleeps naked in his coffin?
yeah, he did that on purpose. He was like, like Bryce said, he's bi. He's like, Thomas, come get
Come
this.
get it.
But I do really like that scene because Thomas is terrified, but he's like, I know that I have to try to get rid of this vampire before he does something because he's already after my wife, and he tries to kill him. And oh my God, that was so scary when he's like about to swing like the pickaxe, and Nosferatu's like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? I'm going to kill you so bad. Oh, that was like so terrifying. Like so terrifying. Bill Skarsgård talked about how isolating it was to be in the makeup because no one would talk to him on set when he was in the makeup.
Yeah.
He said Nicholas Hoult was the only one who was nice to him. He was like, do you need some water, bud? Like, why are you in there?
Yeah, I was really worried about Bill Skarsgård as the Count when it was announced. I'm like, it just felt like we were getting a little too much of Bill Skarsgård as, you know, the villain. You know, especially he just did Pennywise, and I wasn't the hugest fan of that. I'm like, all right, it's just gonna be Pennywise in the Nosferatu makeup kind of thing, and he's unrecognizable.
I thought they were just gonna have like his face with like white makeup and like fangs.
Yeah,
that's what I imagined, and that would not have looked good. But this was great.
It's just hammers home that like this guy's a monster. You shouldn't, like in the other Nosferatu renditions, like there's levels to the vampire where you're like, okay, like there is some like humanity, like you can, like as a viewer you can feel for him. In this one, none. Like not a single thing. Like they don't give you anything to go off of to like feel bad for him. Like no, he's truly evil. He's the embodiment of evil, and he's out for blood, and that's point blank period what's happening. But like somehow that's just like, it's just so sexy. Like I can't get over it. Like I don't know. Like I just I love
This is why I just don't understand women. Like I don't.
Well, Sydney doesn't understand women either because they're not one.
If like there, you know those women that you see on social media where it's like the insane woman that's like burning your car after you break up with them, or just like, or is like gonna kill their kids to have a relationship with their boyfriend. I don't look at those and go like, God damn, that's hot. I can't wait.
Of course not.
But this guy's like a straight up abuser, murderer, like monster. And all the women are like,
It's a movie.
Truth is, women like abuse.
No, I don't want to.
They yearn for abuse.
I don't want to fuck someone like Ted Bundy because that's a real crazy person. This is
There
a
are
mythical
women that do, though.
creature.
There are women that are hot for Ted Bundy.
But I'm not. But that's what I'm saying is like I'm hot for like honestly, if I was gonna fuck anyone in this movie, it would be Nicholas Hoult. Like he is just so sexy to me. I've loved him since Skins. Like he's always been like I love him so much. Like he's just
I don't see
really
it with
hot.
Nicholas Hoult. I don't see it.
I do. But I don't know.
Your wife might.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically look like Nicholas Hoult.
It was. I also want to. I also want to talk about like Aaron Taylor Johnson's character. He was really great in this. He's usually just kind of like a hunky guy in a movie, and in this wasn't that. But there is a scene where you could fully see his dick through his pants. Like you can fully. Yeah, you didn't notice that? It's when they're at Willem Dafoe's house.
Wasn't looking for it.
Oh.
Honestly, wasn't scanning.
I was. Because I saw a tweet about it that was like Aaron Taylor Johnson's bulge in Nosferatu is like amazing. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to look for it. And I looked for it and I was like, very nice. But he really showed his like acting chops in this movie, I think. Like he really goes for it, especially when his wife dies. That is a really sad scene when he like catches the plague and he's like he like takes her out of her coffin and like fucks her. Like I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
Did not care for that scene. Not gonna lie.
No, it was
just care for it.
It was just insane. Like it really was like I was like, oh, they're going for it. Like they're really just gonna go there. And I appreciate the extremism, definitely.
I thought that character was probably the most Victorian accurate character because he's just entirely discounting all the women and just kind of rolling his eyes like, I'm tired of this shit. Like these women are here to serve me and I've had enough of it. Can you just like get the fuck out of my house, kind of thing. And like just he's tired of it and he's just an asshole, and which is what I assume most people in the Victorian area, if they're like aristocrats, would treat people with severe mental illness or disease. You're just like, can you just go and die in your own home? Like, this is not like.
He's like, look, the first few seizures I understand, but you're gonna keep having seizures.
And
like,
then
come
you're gonna bring your husband back here, and he's gonna be sick too. Like, goddamn, these fucking.
Yeah, we're here to talk about inheritances and marriages, and
I have a baby on the way. Like,
yeah. I did miss. There was two scenes that I missed that I want to go back and watch the movie for. One was early on where I just like left the theater to go get popcorn and a refill on my sody. And then, which I expected was going to take like 2 minutes, and it took like, 7 because old people were in front of me. And then another one, I was just looking down and answering, I think probably one of your texts. And that one was just a shot I missed that I assume was Orlok eating Friedrich's kids.
Yes.
Like
he has both of them in his hands and he's just like
yeah. I missed that.
That was like insane because you hear like throughout the movie you hear Orlok's voice like as he's entrancing people, but you don't see him. And so he says to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character Friedrich, he goes, "Do not wake." And then Anna hears something, and Anna's sick. Like Anna has been like taken by Orlok already, and she's trying to wake up Friedrich, and she can't wake him up, and she's just like, shit, something's happening. Like the girls are screaming, so she runs in the room, and she's just like, it's her in the doorway, and it's Orlok with the 2 kids, and he eats them, and then he gets her.
I missed that shot in particular, and then the scenes that I missed early on, I left right as Thomas and Ellen were visiting Friedrich, and like it was Thomas and Friedrich talking, And they're like, buddy, pal. And I was like, all right, this doesn't seem important. And then I came back and Thomas was already in the village. And like,
oh, shit.
The gypsies were doing some kind of performance for him or something like that. And he was...
Yeah, so Friedrich told Thomas that he has a little Friedrich on the way, but don't tell anyone. We're not, like, it's too early on or whatever. And then we go to, like, I think it's
Well, he also in that scene mentions that he inherited his father's, like, fleet of ships. And so that literally only comes back around to be important for one other scene when someone comes in and is like, your ship just arrived and it's like destroyed, and then he has to go look at it, and that's when we get the rats and stuff. So yeah,
then they go the plague. And then like I think Anna and Ellen talk about the girls, and Ellen's just like, I don't want Thomas to leave. I think that's really all that you missed. And then Thomas,
does it show him, because does it show him traveling at all?
Yes, yeah. So they well, like before then, no, because they show him traveling after that too. But they like Ellen sees Thomas off and they like make out, and she's like, "Please don't go." And he's like, "I have to, baby, but I'll be back soon." And that's kind of what you missed.
I'm gonna buy you so many shoes and dresses, and the house is gonna be huge.
I'm gonna write you letters, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the difference in this one is he doesn't actually, you don't see him writing her any letters because he's so scared in the castle. Like he's just too terrified. But in the other ones, it's like, and in the book Dracula, he is writing her letters, but Count Orlok won't, or Dracula won't let him send them.
No, I think there's a mention of, no, there's one point where he mentions to Orlok, like, I have a letter that I need posted.
Oh, yeah.
There's at least one of those.
And Orlok's like, fuck off, dude. Are you kidding me? Do you see what's happening here? I'm going to kill you.
Let me see those
fuck your
titties
wife.
so I can suck on them, Thomas.
But yeah, we should talk about Willem Dafoe and Ralph Ineson, because Ralph Ineson is the doctor that they call in for Ellen's fits of melancholy, which is what they call him. And biggest laugh in the theater is when he's like, yeah, so you got to put a corset on her and you got to give her more ether. Like that was just hilarious. He's like, that's how you fix it. You constrict her breathing and you knock her the fuck out. like that's crazy.
Yeah, well, and he also says like the somnambulism is caused by too much blood, which got a laugh in my theater. I was kind of expecting him to do some kind of bleeding for Ellen, which they never did. They did that. Didn't they do that in Bram Stoker's Dracula well,
it's not her that's afflicted, it's her friend in the book. So like she is like, you know, falling under it, but like it's her friend that they bleed. Like the doctor in the book will bleed her friend like every night, and then it's like too much, obviously. And then obviously Dracula comes and gets the friend eventually. But yeah, so I did. Ralph Ineson is the funniest in this film. Like he's so fun. Every line that he is there for comic relief, like 100%. And then
where's the funny? I don't remember any like super funny sequences.
Well, the pigeon thing where he's like, "My good sir, why would you do that?" Like there was just a couple things like that. And then Willem Dafoe's character, who he's like the professor, he said he calls himself a tourist of the occult. He doesn't. Oh, hi Nellie. Oh, sweetheart. Hi, baby.
Hey, sweetie.
But yeah, Willem Dafoe's character is like, he's not a professional on the occult. He's just like an eccentric professor that got kicked out of his like program for being eccentric and believing in all this stuff. And that's why Ralph Ineson is like, I think he can help us. And Friedrich's like, this woo-woo nonsense. I can't stand you people. And, like, which I think is funny. But yeah, once Willem Dafoe meets Lily-Rose Depp's character, they form a kind of father-daughtery kind of bond where they both kind of understand each other. And like the last scene that we get of them together is like what is his name in the movie? Do you remember?
Willem Dafoe's?
Yeah.
Professor Albin Eberhard von Franz.
Wow. Okay.
Let's just say the professor.
The professor. So
right.
the professor, like when like before the final like battle, which is just like the professor understands that Ellen is the only one that it can defeat Orlok, because he reads it in a book that like if she keeps him awake until the first cock crows, then he will die. And like they get out of the carriage and we get that iconic shot of Lily-Rose Depp with the big bonnet on crying, and like they have this mutual understanding where he's like, I'll do what I need to do to get your husband out of the house, and you do what you need to do to get Orlok dead. And she's like, on it, Buster.
Two things. One, they're pretty loose with the time in this movie, because they start and they're like, we got to go kill Orlok while he's still in his tomb. And they're not quick about it. And they like basically make it there right as it's dusk, like right as it begins to be nightfall. And they're like, oops, all knocks. They find his familiar in the tomb instead of him. And so Count Orlok is out and about, and then he gets to Ellen, and then it's nearly dawn.
Oh, I want to set this up too. Count Orlok comes to Ellen, and they have like this whole scene where Count Orlok's like, "You have to willingly come to me. Like I can't just take you. Like consent is so sexy." And then Ellen's like, "I love my husband, and I want to stay with him." And Orlok's like, "Too bad, baby." And he's like, I'll give you 3 nights to make your decision. And if you don't make it within the 3 nights, I'm going to kill everyone you love, but I can't touch you. And she's like, fuck. So the first night they fight. The second night he kills Anna and the kids. And then the third night is when this all happens. But what you're talking about.
But the part where like they're in his. So
well, this was all.
So
that
the
was
professor,
all a ruse. That was
the
all
professor,
a ruse.
doctor, and Thomas are all going to Count Orlok's tomb, and so they're on the other side of the town, and then they find out like, oh, he's not here, and the professor starts burning the tomb, and Thomas and the doctor start running towards home where Ellen is.
That's no.
And then.
That's not how it happens. They go to kill him at his new house, and they find Canuck and they kill him instead. And then they go try to find Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he's dead in his wife and kids' tomb. And so they burn that. And then that's when Thomas is like, this whole night you've been dicking me around, Professor, because you know that he's at my house. And the professor's like, you got me. And then that's when they start running.
I'm just saying, like, that seems like a long time to go to 3 places during the night to where it's already dawn by the time he gets there. He's like running back from the tomb, and the sun is starting to crest, the horizon. And it's like, Jesus, you guys just take your time between Orlok's house and the tomb. Like, what's going on?
Suspension of disbelief, I guess. Maybe it takes a long time. I don't know.
And the other thing, the second point is like, did she really need to fuck him? Couldn't she just distract him?
She wanted to.
Do a striptease.
She wanted to. No, she wanted it. She wanted it. She was like, keep going. Like the way that she said keep going was different than in like the Herzog. Nosferatu, because she knows what she needs to do to save her husband in that one, and she knows it in this one too, but she is like super excited about this. Like she's like, keep going, bro. Like love this. I
guess we also didn't mention how Thomas basically signed a contract to release his wife from him, and he's like, well, this is in like Transylvanian or Romanian language or something. He's like, well, I guess I better sign it because he's going to be really angry if I don't. It's like, it's a pretty rookie move as a young solicitor to not read the contract that you're signing.
I think he probably, it was a whole trick, right? He probably assumed it had to do with the deed to the house or something. Like, it was really stupid. And then Orlok tells Ellen, and then that's when Ellen is like fighting with, like, she's being possessed. And so she's fighting with Thomas, and she's like, you signed me away to this dude. Like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I love you. And then that's when she's like, you could never fuck me like he does. And then they fuck, and then it's like... And then she does the scary bloody face, and then, okay, I actually have a good point. So in that scene where she's doing the incredible physical acting and she throws the shelf to the ground, right? In the next scene with the shelf, in the next scene that we see in the house, the shelf is completely intact and everything on it is intact. So did that happen? That's my question.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the movie where it's like people wake up from a dream after something horrific happens. So it's like there's always a question of, did that actually happen or was it all in their head? And most of it actually happened, I feel.
Yeah, that scene where she's fighting with Thomas and she just like rips her dress off and she's just like drooling, and it's a great possession scene. Like it's like the only thing I can think of that like compares to it, which I think is obviously better, is Possession with Isabella Gianni. Like that's a, but it was, I don't know. I think we've covered everything mostly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this game.
Yeah, let's play the game.
But yeah, I recommend this to literally everyone. I don't care if you like horror or not. You should go see this movie. Listen, I'm a big Dune head. I'm reading the Dune series right now. I love Dune, and Dune 2 has been my movie of the year since I saw it. I saw it 3 times in theaters. Love, love, love. But I think that this movie might take the top spot for movie of the year for me.
Dune sucks so hard.
Yeah, I think I'm a little less general audience on this one. Like, I wouldn't want my mom to go see this. But anyone that's into gothic horror, definitely. Anyone that liked The Witch or Robert Eggers' other movies, or even just A24 horror in general, should definitely see this. But I agree. I think it's the best horror movie of the year, hands down. And yeah, on the top list of best movie of the year. Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay.
I also think it's great, and I think it's probably the best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to play this game?
Let's play it.
Who is
look
that?
see. Dracula.
1 point
Okay.
for Max.
1 point for me.
I guess we should have said how we're going to ring in. Just yell out the answer.
Just yell it out.
Okay. Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep. 1 point for Bryce.
Blackula.
2 points for Bryce.
Dracula girl.
Nope.
Vampirina.
Yep.
Shoot. Vampira.
Yep. Good job.
Oh, that's from The Girl That Walks Home or whatever.
Yeah. Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is from Interview with a Vampire. It's Lestat.
Yep. Okay. Bryce won. Good job. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Go see Nosferatu. Thanks for listening to our pod. I hope you enjoyed my very authentic period piece outfit. Don't forget to call our voicemail 682-253-4468. We love you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir. You lose. You get nothing. Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face.
Horror.
Wow, that didn't
It's definitely wet.